Welcome to A Corporate Time with Tom and Dan. I'm Tom.
I am Dan.
So I know everybody is tired of hearing about it because...
what are you going to talk about? Coronavirus.
What's up with these masks?
Yeah, you and your damn coronavirus.
The B2
Wait a minute,
Delta.
do you want to talk about that? You want to talk about the B2 Delta?
No.
Or do you want to talk about trans athletes? That's what you want to talk about, right?
Oh, yeah.
You're a big trans athlete guy, Tom is.
Not on my track.
You know what I don't care about? Any sport that's not football. How about that? How about I just blanketly tell you I don't care?
I don't care what anybody does. As long as they're not hurting anybody, I don't care what you do.
Just don't hurt people. Be nice to each other. For the love of God, be nice to each other.
So the Will Smith thing. And I know
No. Let's go back to Corona. Let's get Corona.
And we talked
it's bad when I'm choosing Corona over Will Smith.
And we talked about it right when it happened on the BDM show on Monday. But I'm curious of a couple things, right?
It invoked a reaction out of me. Like, it honestly... Because I had to go and watch the feed you told me to watch. You told me to watch the Japanese unfiltered, or it's Australian or Japanese TV, right?
Well, anywhere on social media.
Yeah, you can find it anywhere, but this was early on, I'm saying. Like, I had only seen the whatever, and you're like, no, you got to watch this one. So I watched the other one, and it makes me angry. Like, it makes me like, damn, I don't think I like you.
Well, it stinks.
That's the on the surface reaction.
It stinks of an egomaniac narcissist, which... if you now, from seeing the video a million times, like, he laughs at first, which is weird behavior too, because it's not like he's instantly enraged about any comment about his wife's hair, which is stupid.
He had a laugh chambered, right?
Yeah.
Like, he had it in there, and he pulled the trigger on it. He got the laugh out.
Yeah.
You're not supposed to do that. You're not supposed to have your laughs pre-chambered. That means that you're not paying attention, right? You don't know what's being said.
Well,
did you even hear what he said? You were already laughing.
Yeah, I mean, you know, it's a big night for him. You probably expected to win the best actor, award. So I'm sure a lot of it is just, you acting as if you're sitting in the front row.
He may not even
Oscars.
know where he's blacking out there. You think he's like out of body experience?
Well, no, that makes it even more weird. The fact that you laughed, and then all of a sudden you get up, and then you start screaming, and then you're crying. You're unbalanced.
It's very much Britney Spears. Shave your head, get a umbrella.
But it's also like everything's about me, and I'm such an egomaniac, a narcissist. I can't take any sort of humor, especially or his wife.
Can we be okay with that though? If we feel like there's something undiagnosed here that he's not dealing with, like this guy, what if we were just watching him melt down? Is it any different than a Martin Lawrence, Tracy Morgan?
Well, no matter what, you got to be responsible for your behavior.
I agree with
so
that.
I don't care what is wrong with you.
I'm just throwing little things out there.
Yeah, but you hit another person in the face, that's on you. If you hit anybody, that's on you for doing that, no matter what caused it, even if it's mental illness. Anyway, which is not severe mental illness, because Will Smith's not severe mentally ill, although I think he's severely narcissistic, and I think he is an egomaniac.
That can be a mental illness.
And to a certain point, yeah. But so regardless of all that, and that's our opinion on the situation. By the way, if you think it's justified, that's stupid, because it's Chris Rock telling roast-style jokes at the beginning of the Oscars, which they always have done.
Playbook.
In fact, he did this before to Jada and Will in the past at an Oscars. So it's like not something that's completely out of left field. He's doing his job.
They've
Will
probably
Smith's
known each other a lot
person.
longer than we've known each other. Right.
So what does Chris Rock do? Because he hasn't made a statement. He hasn't done anything. And in my opinion, he needs to get the most out of this, because now he is an interesting pass that nobody's ever had before with an A-list actor. He can say whatever he wants from now on out, like from here on out, about Will Smith, and he could roast him. He could do
because he's never gone as far, and he never will.
And he's got the pass and the world pass, because this guy slapped you on the face.
What do you think of the Jim Carrey comments? Did you watch his interview?
No. What?
Do you want to watch? I think
I saw John Leguizamo talk about this guy's got to learn how to control himself.
Well, everybody's weighing in. Like you've got.
Well, I haven't heard anybody defend him except for dodos on social media saying
Jim
he deserved what he got. Like, it's ridiculous.
No, I thought Jim Carrey's take on it was interesting, because he really ran his mouth. Like, I'm not used to Jim Carrey like being like, I don't think Jim Carrey's an idiot. I do think he's a weirdo.
Yeah. I think he's a super smart weirdo.
Yeah, I think he's a super smart weirdo, but I do think he's a great actor, right? So I think that there's going to be some and I think he knows his way around Hollywood.
You got to be a little bit of a weirdo to be a great actor. No
Correct. But and again, in defense of Will Smith, I think you have to be a little bit of a weirdo to be a great actor. So here,
it's an entire auditorium filled with weirdos.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
and they're there for our entertainment.
Well, that's why it's fascinating.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
I mean, let's analyze a fish tank for a second, right?
Yeah.
So this is Jim Carrey. This was from CBS Mornings. And I thought he was pretty candid. I didn't expect it to go this way. It was one of those things that just came up in my Apple feed, and I pressed play. And then when I heard it, I'm like, oh, whoa, okay, hey, look at you, Jim. So here's Jim Carrey. Let me make sure the volume's good.
Watched it unfold, and then what happened after?
I was sickened. I was sickened by the standing ovation. I felt like Hollywood is just spineless, en masse. And it really felt like, oh, this is a really clear indication that we're not the cool club anymore.
He did, and I've heard other people talk about this.
The
fact that everybody gave him a standing ovation. But now,
here it is. The other clip, Jim Carrey goes on to basically say,
this morning,
he would have sued him.
And it really felt like, oh, this is a really clear indication that we're not the cool club anymore.
There was some question today about if anyone else had walked from the audience and done that, they would have been escorted out by security or maybe even arrested. The police asked Chris if he wanted to file charges. They asked Chris, do you want to file charges? And Chris apparently said no, he did not.
He doesn't want the hassle. I'd announced this morning that I was suing Will for $200 million because that video is going to be there forever. It's going to be ubiquitous. That insult is going to last a very long time. If you want to yell from the audience and disapprove or show a disapproval or say something on Twitter or whatever, you do not have the right to walk up on stage and smack somebody in the face because they said words.
No, I agree.
What do you think?
No, 100%. But although I do disagree, Chris Rock can't sue Will Smith because then all of a sudden now the negativity turns towards Chris Rock for basically like, oh, you're a bitch.
Yeah.
Come on. There's not
also,
enough to
I think
sue
he was
someone.
taking it from the place of Jim Carrey. And had that happened to Jim Carrey, I do believe he'd sue him for $200 million. I think that was an honest statement. I think that's saying what he would have done.
But I believe Chris Rock did the right thing with not involving pressing charges
I
or
agree
suing
too.
because
they've known each other a very long time. It seems
because you stand to profit more from this, and this is where I got a theory.
You're good at this. I'm never good at this. I'm more of a $200 million sue the next day guy. And in my older age, I have learned that that's not necessarily. It's better to sometimes just take a beat.
Of course, but then it then all of a sudden polarizes the opinion towards you.
Yeah.
Because you're like, come on, the guy slapped you in the face, not a big deal. Like, obviously,
it's a needle spike. You don't need another spike.
Honestly, was it even a hard enough slap to even affect Chris Rock? Which I give it to Chris Rock because you take a smack in the face and ring your ears and it throws you off. This guy went back to his job fast.
Fine.
And he even. Like his voice wasn't trembling. Like usually you get angry if you slap me in the face that hard. My anger would boil up to the point where I'd start stuttering. Even the
time you called me a D-head, you had more heat in your voice where I could feel the real emotion. No, I'm serious.
Yeah.
Like you could feel it. Like you came one pitch note higher, and I'm like, oh damn, we got to him. We're there. We're on the surface of the moon.
So for him to not even have an emotional reaction to a violent slap in the face, which also, if someone slaps me in the face, I am immediately going to retaliate in some fashion, right? Whether it is aggressively yelling at that person or physical, like because you can't help yourself. Anyway, but on the stage,
I'm gonna like Jack Hanna holding a baby koala that just bit him. I'm gonna start punching that thing wildly.
Yeah, but the fact that he didn't, all of a sudden now Chris Rock has all the cards, right? And he hasn't done anything with them. Because
Spooky.
so he's just sat back. He hasn't made a statement. He hasn't done anything. if I was Chris Rock, I would figure out a way to make money off this, right? And the way you can make money is by making your or adding it to your comedy act, right?
Oh, I think he is.
And by you could now go even further, because in Retaliation, you could start disassembling Will Smith's career and making fun of it and doing stuff that if any other comedian tried to do, they would be like, well, that's not funny. Why are you doing that to Will Smith? He's Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
Right.
He's all these great roles. Like, people would defend him, but now he's got the
unlimited ammo.
And the world would be fine with
it's
it.
A free pass, yeah.
And people would think it's funny because now he Will Smith slapped in the face, resorted to violence, and he is now just coming back with digs and words and his comedy and his art, which is the ultimate win. And how many people would be super interested in watching Chris Rock's special where he does 15 minutes about making fun of Will Smith, talking about the situation, and then
15. I think that's the intro.
Yeah, roasting him, like making fun of there's so much to make fun of Will Smith about Wild Wild West. I mean, there is a lot.
Oh, he's done that before, and that's the thing. Is like, I don't know. Maybe he does it. Maybe he just holds it. That's another dig too. Is that if you just never address it, it's almost like you.
But then you don't benefit as much.
Well, maybe he doesn't need to. Maybe he doesn't care. Maybe the benefit is the ultimate con, and not ultimate con, but ultimate, like, let's say, pressure. Ultimate pressure would be for him, because everybody's thinking, myself included, he's going to lay it in these 5 shows. He's going to flesh it out somehow, make this great.
Well, then it'll be an hour special we watch on Netflix.
I don't know if he does. Maybe he just holds on to it, because if you continue to hold on to it, don't they sweat more?
Yeah, but it's not about. Listen, Will Smith's a nut job. He's a narcissist nut job. There's nothing you're gonna ever say to get to him. He's gonna be meditating and positivity and
he's changed.
He's gonna be.
I've changed. Look,
he's gonna be.
This isn't the man I want to be.
He's going to use, like, immediately.
Really?
This is what narcissists do. Even in his speech, he was like saying that, this is what emotional, I'm sorry, when someone
justifying it.
Yeah, using it as a victim, he victimizes himself immediately. Like, that's why he's crying and people are consoling him. Why are they consoling Will Smith? The guy who got slapped is still doing his job on the stage, and they're all like, "Oh, I'm sorry, he's crying." Like,
Denzel's over there.
That's that's narcissistic behavior. You're making it all about yourself. Now you're like, "I slapped. I'm sorry." He's crying. People are like, "Oh, don't worry about it." But like, what are you consoling Will Smith for?
Meanwhile, Jerry's there. He saved his money to go to the Oscars because he won for color correction of a couple of student films that were.
Chris Rock is on stage, still doing his job. Total pro. Anyway, I 100% would use this as a way to, make your stand-up special better, make, more money, get more eyes on your special, and, advance your career. Because what else ammunition do you have? You're not going to press charges. You're not going to do anything else. If you started retaliating on social media, you look like the small.
No, I'm not going to do that.
You do what Chris Rock. You stay professional and you turn it into your act and you make comedy out of it, right? You make art out of this. And you make art that benefits yourself, and then you're the ultimate winner because everybody's laughing. And then also, I'm sure what Chris Rock's art and his comedy is going to be really poignant and funny, and
well
then well thought out, and make Will Smith look like an idiot. Because
or maybe he used it as a teaching moment. That could be the thing. Maybe he goes the Chappelle route where he does the jokes. He does tell you the severity of it. He does make light just enough to push that edge to make it uncomfortable, but then circles back around to let people know that
this is like a lesson. Like you use it as a teaching moment. Yeah,
for everybody. Like
he's a brilliant comedian. So
smart guy.
Whatever he thinks of is going to be brilliant and funny. Which is, you are now the ultimate winner because you now have turned this into a way to benefit yourself and to make good art that is super engaging because the whole GD world saw this and now wants to know your opinion about it. So then take time, formulate it into a bit,
the chat room,
and then release it, and then you'll be successful.
We're live on Twitch right now. Twitch.tv.
All of our slap. If I'd make the argument that this helped Chris Rock's career in the future as long as
a negative. I've never looked at this as a negative for Chris.
As long as he utilizes it correctly and acts correctly, which he so far has.
I mean, even if he just stays quiet, it's still a plus. It doesn't make him look bad. I think he's too old to be that. You
can't
need to
say
stick up for yourself, guy.
You have to turn it into your art and do what Chris Rock does. You can't just not mention it.
Why not?
Then now it becomes like you took the slap and you're not even retaliating with your words or your comedy. And now you look like you just took the slap from Will Smith and he owns you.
I think it looks more like you're going to do so. I don't think it ever looks like.
But if you never do anything,
maybe he decides. I would hold it close to the vest. I'd really play my cards correctly. There's no rush. Why? What are you rushing to retaliate for?
Because in this world we have a short attention span,
but again, there's no negative on Chris. I don't think if it just sits that people go like, well, that guy's a bitch.
No, well, yeah. But
he's an adult. Adults should handle things like that, you know?
But then you waste the time to...
He doesn't need it. He's Chris Rock.
Yes, but everybody, including Chris Rock, still wants to be bigger and better, right?
I don't know. I'm not Chris Rock.
Well, I'm saying, like, if Dave Chappelle does another special, like, as long as you're still working, you want to do better and better, right, in your career.
I think so, yeah.
So you want to be rememberable. You want to be bigger and better if you're still working. If you're not and you're retired, who cares? But... So, like, every special you come out with, you want it to be better than the last, right? You never want it to diminish. So this will be a way...
He'll use it correctly.
To get the most attention. Because, honestly, with so much content out there, even a Chris Rock, when he releases a comedy special, there's a million other comedy specials.
Sure.
So it's not that special anymore. So this is a way to make it special because of just the pure marketing and the fact that the whole world saw it. And so your next special, they're expecting you to talk about it. It's kind of like if something happens to us and then we do a show and never mention it.
Right.
All of our listeners and the people out there are like, why didn't you talk about it? Like, right. I want you to talk about it.
Yeah.
And
I get it.
Well, I want him to talk about it.
I do too, and I think he will. The chat room was taking kind of... they had a problem with you saying that he wasn't flustered, namely Tracy at our Twitch chat, twitch.tv/TomAndDanLive, that he did flub his words. He did, but I think we can all agree.
No, but not to the amount.
No, he wasn't like, it didn't stalemate him. He wasn't done. He corrected it. He had to adjust some words. He instantly got right back on track. I wouldn't say he was flustered. I would say that anybody would, you're going to fumble when somebody can hit you. You're going to drop the ball. But he got right back on track perfectly. And the best part of it, I think, is when he turns to the camera and he's like, you could tell he's about to go in. And you can see him about to go in. And he's like, oh, don't. I forget the phrase he says. Something like, don't even go there. I'm not even going to go there or something like that. He says that. He's like, I'm not even going to. And you could tell that he had to make a very fast decision on whether or not I'm going to do my job and do what I was asked to do up here and be a professional or be the guy that I want to be, which is that comedian that has the tight tongue. And I'm going to light you up, you stupid.
Yeah,
ego man. I'm going to take you sideways, but he
chose not to make it about himself.
Not to make it about himself,
and
that was the correct choice because there's a lot of other people there that had awards that they wanted to win, and those people's awards are now forgotten. Their shine, I mean, they still won the award. Sure, it doesn't really take away from their hard work, but it does take away from the glory they receive for that hard work, and that sucks.
And making everybody super awkward and really
EJ says the earpiece saved him. That's possible that somebody was like, not worth it, you're good. And he's like, okay.
And the slap was awkward enough, but him just screaming an F-bomb and after
that was the worst part. The slap doesn't bother me as much as the crazy yell. Anytime somebody's crazy yelling, I'm like, that's not just yelling, that's crazy yelling.
And also let's go back to, there's a lot of talk about just because
let's get it all out of our system so we're done with it.
Well, this particular, I never am interested in any Hollywood anything really. Like I listen to some sports stuff. Well,
this one one is getting a reaction out of it because when you watch this video, if you know who Will Smith is and have been a fan or not, a casual fan, it will evoke an emotion out of you. I feel like it does for me. It makes me angry.
So, I do have a little problem with like there's a narrative out there like and even Jim Carrey mentioned it about like giving him the standing ovation for winning the Best Actor award, right? And people are like, well, this is what's wrong with it. And let me say this, it is weird that he slapped Chris Rock thing and sat back down. Everybody's consoling Will Smith, he's crying, and nobody like escorted him out or did anything.
Yeah.
Like if this
go back and enjoy your steak.
If this happened,
Prime rib.
like immediately security would drag you out of there, or anybody else. Like everybody was dumbfounded, didn't know what to do. It was Will Smith. Like the guy's gonna win a Best Actor award. Like the production knows.
Yeah.
Like it's like
That's the reason we're here.
so you gotta give a pass a little bit to two people. One, the actual production itself, because everybody doesn't know what the hell to do, right? Because everybody's human. There's no protocol.
You know
to
me
this.
pretty well that to be in that control room and just watch the energy of
Yeah.
it melting down, I would have loved that.
And second, anytime you get a group of humanity together in a room, right? This kind of reminds me of one time
At band camp.
No, a long time ago, we were talking about some wrestling Hall of Fame award they did at the Amway Arena or whatever. And they mentioned Chris. What's the guy? Benoit. They murdered
Chris
his family.
Benoit. Chris Benoit.
And then like people were cheering him or whatever. And then and then people were. I remember the next day on the radio, we were like, man, why were the audience cheering this guy, murderer? The guy, it's like crazy. But it's like. It's a mob mentality. No one knows what to do, and sometimes like people just cheer instinctively. And
well,
it's like,
even Will was laughing at the joke before he hit him.
yeah. So like the fact that they gave him a standing ovation for his best.
Well, that's
actor
just
award.
what you do.
You
can even dismiss that as like, well, that was that performance in code or whatever. Give him the standing ovation. Have separate identities.
It's not like the slap carried on to now. We're like, well, we're not going to, give him a standing ovation. Like people don't know what to do, especially in group settings and stuff. People are just like, okay, this is what we do. We clap, we stand. You won the Best Actor award. So it's like I don't think that's a representation of what's going on in the world today or whatever. That's just what groups and audiences do.
Sure.
They're dumb.
Yeah.
Like audiences are dumb. Like that's why groups of people riot.
That's why live magic works.
That's why when you scream riot, everybody just rushes, because they're always like, I said something, run. Like, Anyway, so I don't think that's a really testament on society or like, the whole Hollywood elite is, somehow poisoned because they don't realize that this guy just slapped their guy. It's just
I would have liked to have seen
clapping because he won.
I wanted to see a few more people check on Chris.
Well, also, it's not that big of a deal. Slap to the face. It's not like he stabbed him.
Do you want to run over there and he's right?
Fine.
Doesn't that seem weird?
He's fine. It was just, you're not supposed to do that. It's unprofessional. It's ridiculous, and it shows that this person's an egomaniac. But man, Chris Rock has to turn it into some sort of comedy
and
special.
now we wait, right?
And then that's what I think the smartest thing to do is. You use it for yourself. You turn that slap into $100 million or whatever you can make. You know what I'm saying? Like if your next comedy special is the most sought after special because everybody's waiting to hear about what your opinion is about this slap that the world saw, Netflix
You should name it Slap.
I mean, how much can you sell that to HBO or Netflix? Because like they just paid Dave Chappelle what? $50 million for his last three.
No, they just bought more. There's a new one that just rolled out. I think they ordered 5 more specials at the tune of another $50 million, maybe.
So I don't know Chris Rock's contracts, if he got any contracts with HBO or anything else. But if you have a special and you talk about and you write for the next, however long it takes, 3 months to make. And then you're like, hey, I got a special, and it had and 15 minutes or whatever is about this slap.
Yeah.
And then you shop it out to all the networks. How much is that worth, dude?
Yeah.
Like, how much will Netflix or HBO bid for that? Or
he should be
Amazon
documenting. He should have literally calmly walked backstage after he got slapped and in between commercial breaks, and texted a friend of his, or maybe a buddy of his, guy Tori. I know they're buddies. And say, hey, I need your entire documentary crew. We're going to do a small mini documentary about the aftermath of being slapped by Will Smith and start the documentary from that point.
You're right. That would sell too.
It would explode.
Although most of it is probably just every single media outlet and every single podcast. I mean, think about how if a Rogan gets Chris Rock on to talk about it, it would be the most downloaded Rogan episode.
Oh,
you know what I'm
yeah,
saying?
without a doubt.
Because I guess the exposure.
Tony Rock's already talking. I don't know if you saw that.
Oh, I'm sure he is. Yeah,
Yeah.
because Tony Rock knows. He's like, well, I gotta go. I'll talk about
Tony,
it. Like,
Tony knows. Yeah.
Yeah.
Tony needs it more than Chris.
Yeah.
Tony's like, let me get on there. He's like, Diddy lied. That's what he tweeted about it instantly. Tony Rock was. People were asking Tony Rock on Twitter. Like, so Diddy said they patched this up. It's all good. And Tony's like, nope, not true. He's like any apology that was made was like that public apology, sure.
Yeah.
But he hasn't come to us and talked to the family yet. He hasn't talked to Chris yet.
I'm telling you, my guess would be Chris Rock doesn't do any interviews about this, and then writes it
Friday. We might find out Friday.
Yeah. But I feel like the best business move would be to stay quiet about it, only talk about it in your special, work it out for the next whatever months, release an hour-long comedy special that has this and other, all your other new material, and then shop it out to all the networks, because it would be, as of now, so many people are interested in hearing him, what he has to say, and he could formulate it into a great, Chris Rock comedy bit and shop it out and make a tremendous amount of money. So, and that's the best
I agree.
Retaliation, or success is the best, what is it called?
That's pretty close. Success is the best. What's it called?
It's the
I don't know what it is. It's the living good is the best revenge or something.
Revenge, and so the best revenge for Chris Rock is to turn this slap into a $50 million comedy special.
I think he can do that.
And then if you do that, you win, and Chris Rock wins, and he's looked at as the better person and the bigger person, and then you passive aggressively, I guess, you get back at Will Smith.
It starts tonight, I guess, in Boston. So we might find out tonight. I think it's Wednesday, Thursday, Friday.
He'll start, but although what's being said will be locked down, right? Because
I would imagine
you don't want it leaked out,
or he may not even do it. He may just go business as usual these 3 shows, and he might just be writing it behind the scenes. We don't know.
Exactly.
We'll see what happens.
You got to work it out. Any bit he's got to work out in front of a live audience.
I would
right?
imagine, as smart as he is, and with a gift like this, he's probably already got it written. You know what I mean? Like, where you're going with something like this.
Yeah. But yeah,
let's. Sorry, I got our voicemails ready to go here. Okay. Let's try.
All right, are people in the chat room disagreeing with me?
No. Oh, okay. No, just
I just saw you were looking at that, you're moving on, so I'm like,
no, we were.
People are mad.
No, I think we were. No, they weren't mad at all. I think we were just repeating ourselves over and over about like he'll do something with it, and it's like, yep, he will. Yeah. So, moving on to this.
Hey gang, it's Zach from Ohio. Remember the good old days of landlines when you could star 69 someone to call them right back, or star 67, I think you put in before you dialed the number, and it hid from the caller ID that you were calling, so it just said unknown. There's some other fun things that I can remember. I'm very high, by the way, from calling back in the day.
Did you use any other? My dad, I remember my dad, and this I put this under the same category as like my addiction to Microsoft Flight Simulator digital planes and overdrafting on my bank account. My dad was addicted to 411. And star 69.
Yep, I use star 69.
Yeah, my dad was a star 69 addict. Like if he didn't have the number, like he was like, I'm calling the Ford dealer to see if they got the oil filter in, and he'd be like, where's the phone book, Carol? And he couldn't find it, and he'd be like, 411. I need the number for Kaiser, Pontiac, Buick, and GMC. He'd do like that sort of thing.
Yeah.
And then you get the numbers and he'd doodle them and write them down. And he'd constantly, and then they did the upcharge. You remember the upcharge? They'd give you the number and then they'd say, we can call it for you if you'd like to for an added, like 11 cents. And absolutely. And they just call them through.
Yeah.
And then before you know it, my dad's got thousands of dollars worth of charges from using star 69, star 67, and 411.
It's funny, at the beginning of the internet and technology, and I'll explain, where people were so private, or like didn't want, like they had a problem with, like when we had the technology to see on a tiny green screen which number was calling you.
Yeah.
People didn't like that. People are like, I don't want them knowing my number. Like, that's weird. Like, people were protecting their privacy so
it's
much.
the same way that people are with the internet now, right? Why they have burner accounts to go on Facebook and troll people. You know, there was a certain protection you got out of calling with, like, even calling and asking a question. I was better at it when I knew they didn't have my number. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like
yeah.
I still get rattled to this day. I called one time. I forget where I called. I think I called like a something delivery. It was something I was having delivered for the house. And you ever do that where you call the place to like maybe make a change, and they're like, "Oh, hello there, Daniel," and they already know who you are. Because when you call in, you call to the call bank, and they have you as a member, and then they like, "Oh, hi, Daniel. How can we help you?" That rattles me, dude.
This is something embarrassing. So my name, my father.
Oh my God, your name's never been Tom, has it?
My father-in-law's name comes up when I call someone because the AT&T account is still linked. Me and Crystal.
If you change that, you won't get grandfathered in. Don't change it.
Crystal has had the same AT&T cell phone number since she was 17 years old in Miami, right? And it was under her dad's account when she got her cell phone, right?
I've had the same one since, I want to say, almost 98, 99.
And then through, like, when I got my cell phone and finally, like, when we were living together, I just got added into her dad's account because they ran some promotion.
Yeah, it's cheaper with the family account.
With the family plan.
The same thing, dude. If we change our account, we lose all our discounts.
Yeah. Although... I went to the AT&T store when I was getting a new phone and that whole thing.
That was a mess.
Why? God,
it is complicated, man. No, it's complicated. Even Andrea struggles with. Maybe it's just you logical types have a problem with it. Andrea's been struggling with her cell phone since we got it. It still doesn't work.
But there's so many new stuff out there. The guy's like, your account and whole plan is so old. Yeah. You're actually paying more than the current promotions. like it's old, so old that we actually are now paying more. We're not grandfathered in. We're paying more.
Your account's so old that Carrot Top was our spokesperson.
Because
for 1-800-COLLECT.
Because of course Crystal's dad doesn't care, and he's not checking on the most way you could save $30 a month. It just is let it go.
Well, mine was,
anyway, but it's embarrassing that my own name, that my father-in-law's name, still. I'm 40 years old.
What does it matter? If they have you saved in their phone, then that's what's going to come up, not the caller ID.
I know, but other times when I call businesses or something like that.
But they'd have to call a landline, right?
They say, they're like, Mr. Butler? That's his.
That really makes you mad. You have to fire that guy. I'm like, what? What'd you call me? Call me that.
Anyway,
that's an ultimate revenge against. You know what? I like that. Good job, Travis. That's fantastic.
Got me good.
All right. Let's try. Have you tried? You're not a soda guy. Have you tried Pepsi Nitro?
No.
Hey, Hilton Head BDM here. Have you guys tried the new Pepsi Nitro stuff, where they, instead of CO2 they use nitrogen? Pepsi seems to have invented flat soda. I don't get it. It's gross.
Did you hear about that?
What is it?
I guess instead of pushing the Pepsi with regular CO2, they push it with nitro to maybe make it. I know that they do that with beer to make it creamier, I guess, right?
Yeah, and coffee, right? And
I think they do that with coffee.
Like cold brew, nitro, and then beer. I've heard that, and they're doing. And what does this do to soda?
Nitro, nitrox, I don't know. I get it all confused. Why can't we just do regular carbonation? Too many I don't need a variation.
Is a gimmick.
I don't need a variation of the bubbles in my drink.
Everything's a gimmick. They're just. I mean, because they got a bunch of this Pepsi, and it's just like beer, like the big beer. They're like, what kind of gimmick can we make to sell this more of this? Because we're not changing the recipe. It is what it is, but we could add Blue Mountains, we could add swirls, we could add drinkability, all this dumb BS that means nothing.
You know what they need to bring back? Because I would, have one in my refrigerator currently, is the party ball.
Yeah,
because I love
that's a good
I
gimmick
love draft beer, and I love
party.
I like draft. I do. And I like draft beer better than bottled beer. Like, my favorite beer is from, like, a brewery. So if you could give me that. I don't want the kegerator because I go back and forth on the kegerator. Sometimes I want it, but then when you get it, you see how opulent it is and how much excess it is, and then you feel a little guilty Kegerator,
it's
and
too
Kegerator
much.
also got me fat as hell.
Yeah.
I'm just now getting that weight off. That's been 20-year journey.
You're like-
20-year journey of
You're like, I don't need 120 beers at my disposal.
Yeah.
Like, I'm only one person, and not that many people are coming over.
Yeah, I don't have any friends.
Yeah. Like, if a bunch of people came over and I could offer them a beer in a ice cold mug every time, that would be cool. But if it's just me every day, I don't know. Then what am I, fat as hell? Fat as hell alcoholic? Because I don't need 120 beers.
Plus, it goes bad, right? If you can't drink it, you don't want it just sitting there for months.
Yeah, I guess with the kegerator, the fact that it's adding back to the CO2 or whatever, I guess it keeps for way longer. Like, yeah, a keg just sitting in a frat boy trash can,
Yeah,
like
that's not good.
That'll only last a couple days. But you got to 3 or 4 months have a regular kegerator. But still, 3 or 4 months, 120 beers, you're like, I guess it's not that much.
It's a lot.
Like a beer a
For
day.
one person, a beer a day?
Well,
I can't do one beer.
120.
One is 3. 3 beers is a normal person, I think. 3 beers.
Yeah.
If you're drinking beers.
I saw on the other day that it said a male adult. I don't know why it matters that you're male. I guess maybe your body is a little
That's
bit bigger.
the penis one, right?
No, that you could have up to 2 drinks a day and it'd still be fine. I have no idea.
Yeah.
But the problem is, I don't know where I read
raised our
that.
credit limit.
I read that in some article
Yeah.
written by anyone. I don't know. I was like,
I had Billy 2 drinks, and I say 2 drinks is fine.
whatever justifies my alcoholism. That's
Agreed.
what I'll read
Yeah.
and then believe.
Let's try this one.
Hey guys, it's Barry Joe. Me and my girlfriend got into a little bit of a tiff tonight, and she thinks it's white trash that I have to grab shorts for Uber Eats to deliver my Sunnies. I think it's white trash if you just don't put on shorts. Your thoughts? Have a good day.
I think that's an excellent question. So, when answering the door at the illustrious Van Mansion, what does your wife put on a brassiere if she's going to the door to get food? Do you put on shorts? How are you dressed? Do the boys answer the door? What is your...
This is an odd question because...
Really? I think it's a good question
Well-
because my wife has a weird quirk. She will always go and put on a brassiere. Always put on a brassiere.
I say odd because post-pandemic, everybody just leaves it at your door and then hauls ass.
They're back. All my pizza guys are saying, "Hey!" when I open the door. They're happy to see people now.
Well, that pizza, I've yelled about this before.
Chinese too.
If you get it from the actual company and the company's sending their own delivery driver, they will stand at the door, which
No, but we marked the button that says contactless delivery.
Yeah,
Leave at the door, and the guy says, "Hey!"
If they're its own company's delivery person, they'll stand at the door for whatever weird reason.
I hate it.
Because it's odd. Everybody else, and even you know this, because the delivery person's gotten
gets deliveries,
He
yeah.
gets Uber Eats or DoorDash or what a million others. And so why not just? It must be a company protocol.
My guys are chirpers too, man. You know what? I find myself hating chirpers now.
And plus nowadays, like you pre-tip and the orders like ask you is all through the credit card and stuff like.
You can see the guy driving.
Yeah. So just leave it at the door anyway. So every delivery I get, for the most part, is left at the door, and then any delivery person, I do put on pants. I never answer the door in boxers. That's trash.
My dad was notorious for answering the door with boxers, his the front hole agape, vacuuming in his underwear. You know how many times my dad was caught vacuuming in his underwear?
Certain people are more comfortable in their underwear.
Who's more comfortable in their underwear in your home? You, your wife, or your sons? Probably your sons.
Yeah, my son. Now, actually, they will put on pants even to FaceTime.
Their gentleman,
their grandfather.
You know what? I like that.
Their cousin.
Put pants on to talk to your grandpa. No, I'm serious. I know that sounds like a stupid thing, but I think it's a showing. They're showing their grandfather some respect.
And they're modest, where they don't want to get embarrassed
Not
and see in their underwear.
He's not modest at all. It's BH City all day long. It's nude cartwheels all through the house.
Yeah. The people that can walk, like my buddy Fernando's like this. Like even on the camping trip,
his ding dong out.
He's just walking around in his underwear. Like And then
Big yellow underwear. Long Mitt Romney.
and then my father-in-law was like this too. He'd walk around in his underwear, like
Boxers or briefs?
boxers.
Yeah.
And I mean, they're technically just shorts, but
I'll do sweatpants.
yeah, sweatpants are
That's
fine.
that's about as far as I'll go. You will not see me in boxers or underpants.
I also I'm not comfortable in a robe. I've never owned one.
You know, I like a robe.
I don't.
I'm a robe guy.
I don't want people seeing me in a robe.
You know why I like a robe? Pockets. Got a place for my beer. Got a place for my vape.
I remember
My vape rig.
I stayed at a fancy hotel one time, and they offered robes, and then they're like,
You must have been at a Best Western.
And then at the pool, there was people like walking down in the robes, and then
That's trashy. Nobody uses the robes.
in this fancy restaurant or a hotel, it wasn't trashy. It was like what rich people do. They
Okay.
walk down in the hotel
Like
robes.
J.W. Marriott,
Whatever the hell.
Ritz-Carlton.
And I felt uncomfortable as hell walking through, and I did it because I was like, well, this is what the rich people do. I want to act rich.
Did you use the like prison sandals too? They're in the closet near the safe.
I didn't use the slippers. They had slippers too.
They put them near the safe and near that little thing that you fold
Yeah,
out
yeah.
to put all your luggage on top of.
Although I didn't want to go barefoot, so I just used my regular sandals.
Yeah.
But I felt weird.
Did you
walking.
drag all your luggage to the pool like you normally do?
It's like there's some trashiness with the robe. Like
Yeah.
robes are super fancy or ultimate trashy, and no in between. And like
Okay.
I have no. Like if you were in a robe, you're the trashy or fancy.
Closed robe, fancy. Open robe, trashy.
That's true. But even as a robe is a weird thing to me too, because it's like you're also wearing, if you're a guy,
It's a
it seems
wizard's
like
cape.
You're wearing a dress, because it's open in the bottom. And
Well, I mean, I tie it tight.
no, but I'm just saying it's open. It's it's not pants, so it's
Right,
like you're
right.
wearing a form of a dress, which is awkward to me, and your thighs are showing. I don't know. It's like long robes seem
Like
like
I have
more
a
appropriate.
long terry. What are you talking about? Like a tiny half robe? I think you're describing. My dad had a Japanese kimono that he would wear. That was like, I don't know if it was like my dad had all the '70s gimmick products.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
There's the terry cloth wraparound dress that men wear. Do you remember that? Like men with mustaches in the 70s, if you're getting out of a pool, you'd have like a necklace on, a mustache, you'd have your hair parted in the center, kind of like feathered, and then you'd wrap around your Sundex, your tiny swim shorts, you'd wrap around this terry cloth dress that you would wear, and it was like a party boy thing. It was like a cool dude thing. It's like white.
Yeah.
My dad had that, and then he also had a silk tiny kimono that was about thigh length that he would wear. It was kind of like his, I don't know, it was very 70s.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen the movies with Dirk Diggler.
Yeah,
and
it's
everything.
very 70s
Yeah,
style.
it's
I don't know why.
That's how you party.
But
Yeah.
when I got a robe, my mom and dad bought me. I still have it. I've had this robe since I was in high school. It is a burgundy and black terry cloth robe, and it's huge. And if Andrea washes it and fluffs it, it's super cozy. And you just get in. It's huge though. It's like I look like Gandalf. It's
Yeah,
just
yeah,
like
yeah.
it has no
Puffy,
hood, but it's
yeah.
like it's good. Like if you get out of if it's cold and you get out of like a hot shower and you put that thing on, pretty good.
The whole concept I understand, and it makes perfect sense to me. I just don't feel comfortable in a robe.
Yeah.
I have no idea why.
We're gonna work you up to that.
I don't know. I don't want to. It feels
Do you feel like you couldn't fight somebody in a robe? Is that why?
not even that. I feel awkward in the robe. Like I shouldn't be wearing it. Like I don't deserve.
What if you had underwear on under the robe? Would that make you feel better?
No. Like I'm telling you, like when you walk down to the pool, you're wearing your bathing suit. I just don't feel. It feels weird. I
It's
feel
like wearing dress clothing, right?
I feel more comfortable with just wearing no shirt and the bathing suit walking through the hotel than the robe, which is odd. And that's a weird.
Well, the robe kind of does draw attention. I'm trying to figure this out. It does kind of draw attention to you, right? Like, oh, look, I have to cover myself up with a robe. And then people are like, well, why are you covering yourself up, bro?
I feel like people are looking like, who do you think you
Yeah,
are?
exactly. I
I'm
think I got
I'm
to it.
nobody.
Yeah, I got to it.
Yeah.
Why do you think you're wearing? Why are you wearing a robe? You should just walk down without a robe. You're not worth a robe.
All right, so we're gonna take a break. When we come back, I told Daniel I'm gonna. This is a weird thing.
Oh my God, he's having a stroke.
It's about masks.
Uh-oh.
And
Oh,
this
no.
is, and,
Oh,
but
no.
it's nothing to do with any but
Okay.
It's Tommy. Anyway, all right, we'll be right back. Welcome back to A Corporate Time with Tom and Dan. So the masks. Everybody dealt with
Jim
it.
Carrey.
The
Is that what you're talking about?
and people still wear masks.
Oh, the mask. Yeah.
For a pandemic. So the boys, obviously, they've been wearing masks. Not anymore, well, at least Max. But as things started loosening up, and then the teacher stopped wearing them, then and my boys never had a problem. I was lucky.
Kids
the fact
are
that
easy. Yeah.
They never cared. They never questioned like, why do I have to wear this?
I think that's
or
most kids.
They just went and they were fine with it.
Although
right?
you will hear differently from adults, if you take them out of play, most kids I've talked to, especially mine, I can speak from experience, they don't care.
But I could also understand if your kid did care, then I'm
that's a
would
real
have a problem with it
thing.
and be like, all right, then don't wear it.
Yeah.
But anyway, so they never cared, and then when things started loosening up about months ago or whatever, around like the beginning of the year or whatever, then I saw teachers not wearing them or whatever, and then Max, like, he stopped away. Like, we'd notice he'd come out when Crystal would pick him up and not wearing it, and Tommy would be still wearing it, and we were fine with it. And we told at that point, once it became optional and safe and responsible enough for like it to be optional,
right.
Then
You're just trying to do your best with the guidelines they've given you.
Then we left it up to Max and Tommy. We were like, do you want to wear a mask? If you don't have to. If you do, good for you, whatever. And then Max,
same thing with May.
So then Max was like, I'm not wearing it. Straight DeSantis. He's like, no mask, Miller Lite.
Yeah.
But Tommy's like, I want to start wearing it. So we're like, all right, fine.
All right.
So then, and this has been going on for weeks now, right? Where now every morning Tommy wears a mask and then Max doesn't, right?
By the way, that's most kids' classrooms that I've seen are a little bit of both.
Yeah, well, I asked him, and there's now there's not that many kids wearing masks at all in school.
We got a couple, yeah.
But Tommy's still wearing it, so I didn't care because, like, again, what do I care? Do what makes you happy, right? If you want to wear a mask, wear a mask. But as these past couple days, I started digging into why he's wearing a mask, right? Because I have no problem with him wearing a mask if he wants to protect himself or other people from viruses, right?
Maybe he feels more comfortable wearing it, like he can hide a little bit.
Yes.
Is that the...
So,
oh, dude.
So that's what
Spoken like a guy that would have worn a mask and tried to use it to hide himself. I would have totally done that.
So now I'm at a crossroads where I don't because now it's about intent. If you want to wear a mask because you want to protect yourself and the community from viruses, go for it. But if you want to wear a mask because now you feel comfortable hiding behind
like
a mask,
security blanket, like
a security blanket. Now I'm like, ugh, because he's been wearing it for two straight.
Though, is it?
Well, is it? Because I don't think it's healthy to wear disguise and hide your face at school if the only purpose, the intent is you feel comfortable hiding your face.
That's a good question.
And I relate to Tommy a lot because me and Tommy are kind of have the same personality, right? We're very unemotional, very hider, like keep ourselves up, very logical.
Yeah.
Like Tommy, like, why is this happening? Like Max will be freaking out, and then Tommy will be like, why are you acting like that?
Right.
Like he's very logical and emotional like I am. So I remember when I was like, especially and you met me at the end of this, but I wear a hat all the time.
Yeah.
And part of it, I think, if I really dive into the psychology behind it,
okay.
I was wearing a hat because I liked like covering my face. I liked being behind the hat.
Okay.
Right? And because I don't like attention, neither is Tommy. This is ridiculous. I work in this career, I understand, but I don't necessarily like being the center of attention. I don't like people looking at me. I like to kind of blend
in. Yeah.
I like to blend in. I like to be in the crowd.
You're not anti being singled out, but you don't want to be singled out for the entire time. I mean, you want to have fun. You want to be part of the revelry and what we're doing.
Yeah, I feel more comfortable.
You're not a nerd. You're not like a sideliner. I mean, obviously, you would absolutely not do this job, right? Like, if you were, like, petrified, there's no way you could execute this. But you enjoy it. It's not the first thing you're going to sign up for, and you're not flashy. right? You're not flashy.
Outside of this, I don't like
aesthetics don't matter
being
to you.
the center of attention outside of work, right? Unless I
Right.
need to be for an event. Like,
Right,
I don't.
that serves a purpose.
Like if there's a bunch of people, I'm never like, let me get in the dance circle or let me get on stage and entertain. Like
well,
unless
if
it's on.
the drinks are flowing and you're relaxed, you will go into interview mode, which is the closest I'll say to that. But yeah, for the most part, you're a sideline guy.
But that's not to be the center of attention. That's to avoid the awkwardness of silence.
No, it's your comfortable place. Absolutely.
But anyway, back to the mask. So now I have a situation where Tommy's wearing the mask, not for the virus or any for the health reasons.
Well,
but
it is for health reasons. Maybe it's for his mental health. It makes him feel good.
Well, I don't know if I like that because you start hiding yourself. And that's the only way you can be in society.
There are thousands of poop flies in here today, by the way.
There is. Why is there so many?
I don't know, but
I've been trash.
God damn it. That one was big.
You know what? Usually
they're attacking me good.
Samantha's like, will take out the trash when we forgot it.
I just been throwing the trash under her desk. I've been pushing it all under there. There's a whole carrot cake under there from yesterday. I ate a whole carrot cake yesterday with my hands.
You remember when
these poop flies are out of control.
It's like when Dwight Schrute quit and then all the plants died and all the stuff. They're like, why is this happening? Because he, behind the scenes, he was doing all this work. I think that's Samantha. She was doing all this work to keep the studio together. We don't notice. But when she leaves, they were like, poop flies everywhere. Why is there doo-doo on the floor?
There's no paper towels. The toilet went on flush. There's trash bags.
The ice maker wasn't working. I was like, no ice. I'm drinking hot
mildew
Coke.
crazy.
Anyway. So,
have you talked to him about it?
Yeah, this morning on the ride to school.
Whoa, you got him to talk this morning on the ride? Well done.
That's
you
a new
guys
thing.
had a conversation on the ride to school.
I was talking to my sons for like 2 hours yesterday about scary movies. They loved it. I told them all the scary movies I knew and what happens in them, and they and then I was anyway. That's a whole different story. So
that's gonna f them up real good.
No, but they want to hear.
Are you gonna have them watch them with you?
They were happy to hear me talk, which made me happy. No, I'm not gonna watch them with it, but they wanted me to describe all the blood and guts.
Next up, Pinhead from Hellraiser.
That's what I was doing, and describing what the.
Here's I believe he was a Nazi or not. I can't remember correctly. But anyway, he comes back. He was stripping the skin off of whores in a club, and it's great, blood everywhere.
So, do I forbid him from wearing a mask to school?
I think personally, I don't know anything about it, but just off the jump, that sounds like the wrong way to go. Because I feel like that's harsh. Because I don't feel like it's hurting really much of anything. I think you can get him to maybe relinquish the mask if he fully understands why he's using it to get comfortable.
Well, that's where I had the conversation with him. I'm like, why? Because he's like,
what did he say?
He's like, I wear it because it's comfortable. The problem is he's too young to understand why that's bad. You know what I'm saying? And it's bad because you now are wearing the mask.
But comfortable for what reason, I would ask? I would counter with that.
Because I understand, because he wants to hide.
Well, has he said that, though? Because then I would ask, hide from what? What are you hiding from?
From attention, from putting yourself out there. I mean, covering up your face and being masked does give you a feeling of enclosure, right? It did, even when we were all wearing masks, like you feel less connected to other people, like when you're covering yourself and then you wear, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like there's some psychology behind covering your face up, and that is like shielding your, it's like, I guess, a vulnerability thing. Like, anytime, someone can see your face, they see your facial expressions. It's a way of connection for humans and
it's
stuff.
The first form of communication.
So you cover that up, and then all of a sudden now you're shielded from that. This
is a great question, and you know what?
I'm sure it's happening out there.
Oh, dude, that was going to be the next thing out of my mouth. Is I believe that you've stumbled upon something that's going to be a problem for many parents, because Maisie is like, she's the type of kid where she'll just forget she has it on, and then literally there have been one or two instances where I'm cooking dinner. I haven't had time to check everything. She's over there watching some Disney Plus, right? I'm over there stirring up the homemade hamburger helper, and I look over, she's still got her mask on and has had it on for 2 hours. She didn't even notice.
Yeah. And that's a different thing. It's if the intent was, I just put it on, who cares? And
Chat room thinks that this is a weird hill for you to die on, considering all of the other things that maybe you don't get upset about, that they think the mask one is odd.
Well, it's not that I'm getting upset about it. I am trying to do the best thing as a parent,
right,
to direct him in the right way, because I don't think hiding yourself or putting a mask on for any other reason beyond like health reasons, right, which is totally acceptable. And if that was his reason, more power to him. He could wear it as long as he wants. He could wear it to school every day. If he's like, I feel like I get less sick. I like it in the fact that Tommy, he does, like, Max is coming home with now colds and stuff. Tommy doesn't. Although
he's clean.
Although at home, Max just gives it to Tommy immediately. So who the hell cares?
Yeah.
It negates it
as
anyway.
long as one's compromised.
It negates it anyway. But the fact is, like, yes, it does protect you from viruses. But if that's the intent, great. But it's not the intent. It just makes him feel comfortable now.
Okay.
And then now,
so it's a confidence thing, right? So it's low confidence. So what's the number one thing that builds confidence? Strip mall karate. You got to call Seth. And you can build.
He's wearing a mask, but for the hypochondria.
You can build Tommy's confidence through karate. Strip mall karate.
So the answer is just have more and more conversations with him and about why are you doing this? But there does come to a point where, because I imagine from now on out that we probably won't live in a world where they're going to ban masks in the future, right? It's going to be a personal choice, right?
Right. Yeah, for sure.
Which it should be, whatever. But if you are wearing a mask, but it had nothing to do with the virus, and then just because you feel comfortable in it, it feels wrong to me. And maybe it shouldn't, and maybe it should be, you should be able to wear a mask in society just to hide your face, that feels like,
I see what you're saying. It is different than like
dysfunction.
A haircut. It's different than like the clothing you wear. I mean, you're actually like sort of tucking yourself away.
It's not because of they're into a certain band and they want
kids have been hiding themselves with their hair for forever. We all knew that kid that sat in the back of the class that had long hair that would hang it down and then use it just like a mask to hide themselves because they felt more comfortable that way.
But that should be an issue that the parents should work on.
You're
like
right.
You shouldn't. I remember there was a girl that would put her hair like in like middle school.
She was the witch girl.
She would just put all her hair in front of her face and hide, and then that would be her safe space.
Yeah, the ring. She's crawling out of a Japanese well.
And then everybody's like, "Wow, there's a weirdo." I don't want Tommy to be that. I don't want Tommy to be the only kid, that only, or he feels only
Sub-Zero back here won't take his mask off.
Because it is a confidence thing, and it is a comfortability thing that he got comfortable with the mask on. It made him feel safer, but not in a virus way again.
Right.
In a health way, but in a.
I see what he's saying.
A comfort level of it does shield you in a certain way from other people, which again, I've used hats, a bear suit, whatever it is, to
that's a good point.
Hide behind things because I'm not I'm more of an introvert publicly, and
interesting.
It's something that I don't know.
Well, you're on the right track. I mean, eventually it's just going to work its way out.
I mean, and again, it's not to a dysfunction point, because
I bet in 3 months it's gone.
The other day he forgot it at home because we were rushing out because we were always late to school.
Dude, there's your key.
And
you start conveniently hiding the masks a little bit, and then use your natural. What are you naturally good at? Being late. You hide the mask. You're naturally good at. He's gonna ask, "Oh, I need my mask." We don't have time. Get in the car. Boom. Use your superpowers to fix it. Before you know it, 2 months down the road, he'll forget about it.
And he went the whole day of school without it, like 2 days ago.
Did he comment?
No,
to you?
didn't even care.
Yeah.
He's like me. He doesn't care about anything.
Track.
And then so I guess that's the answer. Is just you forget days and days, and then you just get used to it, and even like weaning yourself off. Like he got used to it every day for 2 years. And so he's probably more comfortable with it than not.
Maisie is.
So then you have to do the same thing when you're not. You start going to school, and then a couple days on and off, and then all of a sudden you forget about it, and then that's it, right?
Yeah.
That's the answer.
100%. I think you're on the right track.
It's a weird thing that
It
I'm
is.
sure other people and parents are dealing with where, a lot of kids, Max was, although, he dismissed it immediately, but he had never went to elementary school without a mask.
Yeah.
Because this thing happened when he was going into kindergarten.
Well,
So with the first day or he only went half the year that year when Corona hit. But he was at mask at first kindergarten and entire first grade,
Yeah, well, for May, very much not as much as what you're saying with Tommy, but May question us like, well, why is it changing now? And we're like, well, the regulation. We just kind of threw, what we were being told back at her. The regulations are different now. And then Andrea asked her, and she, we let her decide. And it's funny too because some days she'll wear it, and some days she won't. I guess it really just depends on the mood. I don't know.
Yeah. But then to me, it's like, well, then why are, just don't wear it at all?
Exactly.
Yeah,
I'm with you.
But then it's like, why are you choosing to wear it? Are you wearing it because of you're protecting your health, or are you wearing it because now it's a comfortability thing?
Yeah.
And then there's a difference,
Yeah, man, navigating school was always so hard, because, when you get to be an adult, I think it's relatively easy to navigate around other adults because either A, they're so self-consumed, and I don't mean that as a negative way. I mean that from the standpoint of they've got their own things going on. Like most adults are really busy, maybe overworked, and got tons going on. So for the most part, I'm always aligned with you on thinking that humanity is, for the most part, very good. And most people I meet are sweet and super kind and great. But for kids, it is a little different because they're fleshing out those personalities, man. They're trying to figure out who they are. Sometimes they can be nasty, and sometimes they can have these little tics where it's like, this feels more comfortable. I can totally relate to that, man. I can remember what it was like going to school and not having my favorite clothing, or a favorite shirt or a pair of shoes that I felt like gave me confidence. Like when you don't have those things, that's your world because things are so much bigger when you're fresh like that. You know?
Yeah. Everything's a giant deal. Everything seems like the biggest deal in the world. And because your perspective is skewed.
You probably look at my eyes and tell that I know for a fact what it would feel like to be Tommy and you take that mask away. That's scary.
Well, I'd never force him to not wear it.
No. You know what I mean? Like
slowly,
just walking in, like even trying it, even if he decided himself, like, you know what? I don't need it today. That's scary. I think things are way more heightened for kids, and kids are mean sometimes too.
Well, that's also I asked him. I was like, well, is there anybody else? I bet like him and like one other kid or two other kids in his class are still wearing masks, but everybody else is not. So then that's another thing too. Is like I'm constantly checking to make sure that he's not. It sounds ridiculous.
Don't make it tougher on yourself.
Yeah, don't make it tougher on yourself.
Yeah.
Like, and so I'm all about everybody being who they want to be, but I want to direct him in a way to not make it tougher on himself than needs to be.
Does he sometimes? You feel like?
No, I just think he's oblivious to a lot of things like I am. So you need someone.
Do you think you make it tougher on yourself?
Well, I'm an adult now. So, but when I was a kid. No, I think I didn't like it. I wanted to do whatever was the easiest. And, so I make it tougher on myself because of all my flaws and bad at life and all that. But that's ingrained, hard to change.
Thanks for calling Tom and Dan Psycho and Analysis. Who is this?
This is Chelsea. This is your weird hobby.
Yay!
All right, Chelsea.
We were just going to wait for you to call us.
All right, Chelsea, stay on the line, and we'll do some Weird Hobby Wednesday. Well, actually, you won't be here. This will be in a different show. So, all right, bye-bye. Welcome to Corporate Tom and Tom and Dan. I'm Tom.
I am Dan, and we are live on Twitch right now, twitch.tv/Tom and Dan Live. Monday through Friday, we broadcast live, or stream rather live. Weird, I say broadcast. People don't broadcast anymore. Well, people do, but those are old people. But the young people are streaming, just like us, the middle-aged people. Streaming, twitch.tv/Tom and Dan Live, and all video replays. You can find those on YouTube, Tom and Dan Live.
Also, if you want to be a BDM, our BDM Appreciation Week is coming up, and that's a week that we are giving free prizes to BDMs.
I'm
we got-
burning money hot.
We got Oculuses that we're giving away.
I blew
Nintendo
$2,000
Switch,
yesterday.
a hot tub. with
I
like
bought a hot tub. I've never purchased a hot tub. I bought a hot tub that's got American flags painted on it.
gift cards, money, merch. We're giving away a ton of merch.
Nintendo Switch, the OLED version.
All to random BDMs who are members. And if you are a member already, just go on TomandDan.com and make sure your address is correct. And if it's not correct, when you change it, you also have to re-enter the credit card number associated with the address to lock it in.
It's like a security thing. Like, just think of it in terms of, the only way they can save your address is if you prove that you're actually logging into that account with a viable credit card. So you have to do that.
Yep, and that's at TomandDan.com. But just make sure that's correct if you are a BDM, so you can get some prizes. If we're just giving out randomly.
Yeah,
So
it's
anyway,
going to be crazy. You ready to do this?
let's do it.
Let's do it.
Fat Nerd Dads, go!
If you got a hobby and you're feeling kind of flabby, Dick, that's lost. What's your hobby?
Weird Hobbies!
Weird Hobby Wednesday brought to you by StreamlineFlorida.com. If you want to cash out refi or a mortgage, you want the best possible chance to buy your home and make sure that mortgage is the best one and gets picked when you go in to buy a house, because there's going to be multiple offers at this point in this market.
You want to have everything.
Use Streamline Florida.
You want to have everything handled. You want a streamlined, process, and that's exactly what they do. StreamlineFlorida.com.
Chelsea's on the line. How you doing, Chelsea?
Good. How are you?
Good. So what is your hobby?
My hobby, I am a novice prepper, which basically means I have all the crap, but I don't know how to use it.
No, all right. I like the idea of it being the end of the world, and then you having some water like purification equipment,
So you
and you're like, I can't use it. And you're like,
So
this
wait.
tastes like bleach, and then you die.
So you're really just an optimistic hoarder.
Right? Yeah. So
Yeah, you could say that.
let's talk about the basics of prepping first. What are what do you
your
start with?
staples?
Is it food and water?
So food, water, anything that you might need to cook with, obviously all the knives, maybe a gun or two, just in case.
Yeah, you gotta have
You
some
need to
guns.
shoot a bear or whatever, yeah.
Yeah, you gotta have guns.
Bear.
Yeah.
Chelsea, it's going to be other
Leave
humans
her alone.
trying to steal your
No,
food.
this is her. This is her. Yeah. That's what she means. She's gonna shoot a fat gay guy who's trying to steal all her food.
Bears are extinct. We killed them all. We're ruining the environment.
Yeah,
you don't have to worry about that. You have to worry about
way.
all the other humans that are starving.
You know what's
and
killing
they're
bears
doing-
right now more than guns? The sun. It is roasting them alive.
So, so you got a couple guns, some food. Let's talk about
You have a tank?
how much. Like you say, novice. Like normal preppers, I feel have like multiple year plans.
Yeah,
like
3 year, 5 year,
Oh, yeah.
yeah, like I can
Yeah,
survive in my bunker that is
7 years at least.
a storage container that I buried in my property in my backyard, and it's got its own air filtration system.
When you're in the
and-
bunker, do you leave up the Christmas tree full time, or do you put it up, take
Good
it down?
question.
Put it up, take it down.
I think it takes up too much room.
Yeah.
Decoration. It's all about survival.
Yeah, but your mental.
Yeah, you just theme it out. Exactly. You just theme it out. So Christmas, you have Christmas. Halloween, you have Halloween decorations on it. It's fine.
Yeah. What do you have as far as what's the duration of your prepping?
We'll say like 5 days worth of food, because
All
I'm pretty
right.
sure I could figure out how to kill a rabbit or a squirrel.
Are you really
in a
just
couple days.
shopping for sorry,
5 days of food will get you nowhere.
5 days
I
of
have,
food.
hold on. I have 5 days of
Yeah,
food
man.
in my
There's
refrigerator.
5 days of food here at the studio.
And in my pantry, every single time I'm hungry, I open up my pantry. There is
Yeah.
an insane amount of food. Like,
I so much
and I'm like,
waste.
how much garbage? I want to order a Vietnam.
I have so much
Yeah, but-
waste.
Exactly. How much of what's in your pantry currently is already expired?
Oh, it doesn't matter. It's the end of the world. I'll eat it.
They put those, like some
Yeah.
old, like I'll
That's
eat
just
some
a
mildew
suggestion,
beans
I know, yeah.
if I'm dying.
Yeah.
I'll eat anything.
I will.
Hey, the maggots are extra protein, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, at that point,
have we just resorted to interviewing crazy people now? It used to be that we do a bit. It'd be Weird Job Wednesday, then became Weird Hobby Wednesday, and now we just have some like, I got 5 days of rotten food under my bed.
So Chelsea, you say prepper, but 5 days of food. I mean, most people have that. So like,
she's prepped for 5 days. She's a short-term prepper, Airbnb.
Are we talking like MREs and dehydrated stuff and like
yes.
Beef jerky?
So give us
the stuff that'll last like 20 plus years. So. Yeah.
So what do you got? Like, give us the rundown of like food wise. What do you got?
No, I don't know. Whatever comes in the bucket, essentially. So
you
it's
buy
like
the
mac
buckets.
and cheese and I buy the bucket. Yeah. So it's basically like the mac and cheese and the chicken and rice and whatever, I don't know. Whatever else is in there.
This has been a secretly big business that no one talks about, especially when the pandemic hit.
Oh, late at night you see the commercials.
Yeah. A lot of these businesses popped up where they'll sell you like, and you could buy a pallet. I think Ross bought one.
His wife did, I believe, if I remember correctly.
Which we know. I started poking into it because I wanted to make fun of it, but he got a little.
I think it was off the.
He got a little Will Smith.
Do not talk list.
Yeah, don't make fun of my prep. Yeah. Preppers are serious.
Well, I mean, like,
which
they can be. I mean,
well, it's a serious topic that they're afraid of the end of the world, but I find it very hilarious, and all I want to do is make fun of it because for so many different reasons. And we're going to start with you, Chelsea. So just strap in because I'm going to make fun of you for a while. But but let's talk about the actuality of this. So you get a survival bucket that is like this is like a month of MREs, and because they sell them online, I've seen them like you buy X amount of supply that lasts you.
And there's like Mylar blankets in there, and
like water purification tablets.
There's tubes that you can drink out of a river for like 3 days.
So like let's talk about that. What's in the bucket?
I don't know because I haven't received it yet.
Oh, you're a really good prepper.
I thought I'm a novice prepper.
So
I haven't been doing this for years. I've been doing this for like maybe a couple months.
So Chelsea, now it gets in the part where I make fun of you. I apologize. So
here we go.
I think she knows what she signed up for.
So it seemed. I'm going to talk generally about preppers at first.
Where do you keep your stuff? Do you have a
a
back room or
and garage? Mostly garage, right?
If I told you, I'd have to kill you.
Oh, you're afraid someone your extra
She
parent
doesn't want people to steal her bag.
No, it's in the trunk of my car.
Oh, for a bug out.
Yeah, that's actually pretty smart.
Yeah, there you go.
So do you have a location to go to?
Sure.
She doesn't want to tell you that either. Yeah.
Now, Chelsea,
she doesn't want to get too populated. She wants to be sitting alone at her destination with her bucket, no one else around.
Is it a place that you specifically bought and own that no one else can go to? Because if it's something that everybody else thought
if it's something that everybody else wants, you're as good as dead.
Yeah. They're going to easily kill you. And then take your location.
They're gonna eat you too.
But so is it something you own? Is it like a something buried in some property that you own in Tennessee mountains or
wait a minute, or did you not think of where you're going to go and that's why you said maybe?
Or is it like the woods near Disney World that you drive by and you're like, I'm going to go to those woods?
Yeah, stand next to that stop sign.
Yeah. How thought out is this, Chelsea?
Yeah. There's plenty of ducks in the Disney woods I could kill for meat, I guess.
Yeah, there you go.
So
listen. So my whole thing is it's not necessarily trying to get somewhere, not going to a destination or having anything planned necessarily. It's just making sure I have everything I might need just in case.
Okay,
so I'm planning on hunkering down at home essentially, but if the need arises, I have all the stuff to go out in the Disney woods or somewhere.
So is this something that you do personally just to make you like is this to lower your own anxiety, to make you feel better, or is this
this is just a peace of mind thing for you, correct?
Absolutely. It's this is what I can control in my own life. that is happening, because of all the crap that's happening in the world and just in general.
So. And I was going to get to that because I think primarily like a lot of preppers or people that prepare for worst case scenarios, it is just a form of therapy, a peace of mind for them because they feel
I did what I could.
Calmer knowing that they at least have a plan. My wife is like this, not prepping, but by the way, I'll tell you about that. She asked me, like, you have a plan, right? I'm like, oh, yeah. No plan. I just say that because there is no plan. And I've worked out in my head. Every plan leads to death. And then so I just gave up. Anyway, but my wife has to think about worst case scenarios constantly. She's plagued by it.
I do a lot of this.
Like she has the glass, like the thing, and then she put it on all like in both of our cars around. And she tells me how to use it, like to break the glass and cut my seatbelt in case I get into a scenario.
I pre-did that
where I'm upside down in a lake, and then I have to listen to it. I didn't listen to one word yet. I'm just like, oh yeah, the thing. I'll break the thing.
Got it.
Then I'll get the kids out and we'll all swim to safety. Like if that happened, I'll be I'll be trying to rip it out. I'll be punching dead. But because in my mind, the likelihood of that happening is next to zero. So I don't even prepare. I only prepare for things likely to happen.
You need to prepare for it.
Yeah. Like if something is above 50%, I'll think about it. If it starts getting below 20%, it doesn't even come across my radar. And if you get into 1%, nothing.
Why am I bothering?
Zero.
That's a good way to live.
It makes me mad preparing for something 1%. Anyway, so it's just a form of peace of mind at this point, Chelsea, right?
It absolutely. That's really all it is. Like I said, I started a couple months ago, and then just seeing, like collecting stuff for essentially like camping, like the little stove and just the knives and stuff. I started collecting, and then once this whole thing with Ukraine blew up, I was like, this might not be good. So that's why I started ramping it up. But
are you thinking that eventually? No, is your thought that eventually you will have to run for the woods because the nukes have eliminated modern cities, and now you're going to have to try and outrun the radiation poisoning? Like I'm like,
and outrun the wind. And also when society,
I'm not trying to make you feel worse. I'm just trying to.
Oh, I am here. Hold on, because let's talk out the scenario. Chelsea is, and this is why I can't be like. And my wife gets mad at me.
No, I can identify with Chelsea because I know what it's like to have irrational fear.
Yeah.
So I'm on your team 100%. I get what you're saying because it doesn't have to make sense to be scary. Does that make sense?
Yes, it
Absolutely.
does. But to me, I always look at these things like because I'm too logical and I can't get beyond it.
Andrea's like this, and it drives me nuts. There's no emotions in there.
So I start looking at it like because I've seen Chelsea. Have you ever seen the show on Netflix Alone or any of the survival shows?
No.
I'm glad that you've done your research.
I'm not going to start there.
I'm glad you have no survival experience.
She's my favorite. This is my favorite hobby because he knows nothing about it.
Everything you're doing completely meaningless. May keep you alive for 2 extra days. Anyway, so the survival shows, I watch them, and I watch these people. It is hard as F to survive in the woods, like next to impossible. Like I see, and these people are professionals. Like
they're good at it.
They do this for a living, and that all they do. They hunt and make traps and like work in the.
They're very comfortable doing.
The guy that won that show Alone on Netflix, which is them surviving up in Alaska or whatever in the woods. Like that guy has been doing this for like 40 years. They live with the Native Americans and everybody on that show, which all of them but one lasted, were survival specialists, and they couldn't last.
And most of them couldn't.
And they couldn't last past like 60 days or whatever because it's hard as hell.
What did he end up doing? How many days did he end up doing? I forget.
It was, I think, 90.
It was a ridiculous amount.
100 days.
Yeah, it was 100 and something.
It was also in like Arctic weather and stuff, what made it harder. But like, so Florida survival is a little easier because you don't have to deal with freezing to death, which is most of what they had, and then the lack of food. Like,
so Chelsea, with this hobby, do you feel like, you call it a hobby, but do you feel like you get something out of it in a positive way, like a good thing? Like is it Or is it just maybe a reoccurring negative thing that reminds you of how maybe scared you are?
Well, I mean, I'm not really scared in the, traditional sense, like,
Okay.
oh my God, the world's going to end tomorrow.
Sure, yeah.
It's more of just like like I said, it's more of like a control thing.
Yeah.
But the plus side is, in the meantime, I can get to learn and, figure out how to use all this stuff by going camping and, at different campgrounds and just kind of, roughing it, so to speak. I mean, obviously, I'm not going to go out and kill squirrels on a,
I got Disney
public
campground.
campground,
I like
that you're murdering a duck. There's some kids that are getting ice cream. You're whacking it with a golf
I like
ball.
you're like, I'm going to start with Fort Wilderness. You go there,
Yeah.
you set up.
You're burning the place to the ground.
You set up there, you're hunting squirrels. And Disney squirrels, they'll come right up to you because
they're conditioned.
They're not afraid of anything. Anyway, so speaking of that, like, have you ever been camping?
Once, but it wasn't like
so
that.
cute.
Yeah, I know.
You're
Chelsea.
so cute. You're so cute.
Chelsea,
I know.
can I save you a bunch
No,
of
leave
time?
her
Can I
alone.
please? Okay,
Nope.
Leave her alone. She likes this is her hobby. This isn't your hobby.
but it seems like a tremendous. I didn't know my hobby's gambling, and that's a waste of
Yeah,
time
but
too.
at least you get some enjoyment out of it. She sounds miserable, plus it's a miserable hobby.
Yeah. And that's what it comes back to, Chelsea. I've thought about this because when my wife does ask me, like, she gets paranoid sometimes, and like every time something happens, pandemic, Russia, whatever the hell, she's like, well,
I'm like this, yeah, you feed off
You
of
got
it.
a plan, right? What are we going to do if society melts down? And then I'm like, oh, I got a plan.
I'm going to go on the roof and eat pudding like Carl. That's what I do.
There is no plan because in the logic behind it, I'm like, well, there's too much humanity in one place for us to ever stand a chance. Like, we're all just starve to death and be fighting each other and killing each other.
We're a lot more all in this together, Tom Van.
Plus, I've lived with for 4 days without. I lived longer than that, but like any sort of time without AC. I'm sitting in the house with everything fine, food, water, everything, just no AC,
Miserable.
and I'm like, I'm gonna kill myself. So I'm not gonna last a minute. Like, I'm just like, if that 1% or less than 1.2%. 0.02% chance of the end of the world or the end of society, I'm not even going to prepare for it because it's such a small chance.
Yeah.
And even if I do prepare for it, I have to do a lot more than getting a bucket and start camping a full
it's a
wilderness.
start. The bucket is a start.
Like, that's going to what?
You're going to
extend my life 2 weeks of misery?
Well,
like, why would you even want to live that long?
Somebody's going to steal her bucket.
Like, just be done with it. It's just they'll steal your bucket, food, like so many other scenarios are gonna happen that even like the guys I do think that could even last a couple years are the serious preppers.
Well, they got facilities and
bunkers, yeah.
and
But then if you eventually get to that point, which with every hobby you want to be the best, right?
For sure. That's the goal.
I always look at those people. I mean, they do like shows on preppers and stuff, and I look at them and they have a plan, and they have they're always like everything's in a bug out bag, and they throw it in the car.
They're
they got
always revising it,
they
making
run
it better.
They run drills. They got their family involved. They got tons of weapons and ammunition and water, and they can survive 5 years. And I'm like, great. Like, these people actually stand a chance to survive,
Sure.
right? If like some apocalypse
but
happened.
they're the outliers again.
But then I'm like, are you living your whole life? Because again, going back to the percentage chance that the end of the world does happen, I'm like, are you living your whole life preparing for an event that will statistically never happen? And then how does that affect you mentally? Where are you in the back of your mind because you've prepared so much?
Yeah.
Secretly hoping it happens, and that's no way to live. You're hoping for the end of the world so you can use all your preparation, because I feel like if
or maybe they look at it like anything else you prepare for that you know is not going to happen. Like if you're the dad at Froggers in the dad band, you're eventually preparing to perform at the Grammys, but we know that's not going to happen, right?
Well, yes.
But I see what you're saying about, like, does it tip just a little bit where you're like, well, I hope this happens so I can prove to everybody how prepared I am, and that's a little messed up.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, no, I see it.
Just the whole...
It's a negative hobby.
The whole act of preparing for the end of the world, to me, would get you in the mindset of once you're prepared, you kind of want it to happen, which is screwed up to me. Like, that's the whole reason, like, that I think the whole idea
It's like
of it
insurance.
is flawed, because you're prepping for something with a less than 1% chance, and if you're spending a lot of time and effort, and in the back of your mind, you're like, well, if it does, like, are you disappointed if you get to your deathbed?
I don't think Chelsea is. I think there's some people that are, but I think Chelsea would be like,
you wasted your life.
You wouldn't be disappointed, would you, Chelsea?
No, because, like I said, if, obviously nothing's, going to happen, but, I can at least take the stuff and go camping with it,
There you
know,
go.
and
She's
learn
a
how
positive. I like it. This has been one of my favorites.
And besides, wouldn't it be cool to know, just in the back of your mind, that you're the last person on the earth that actually survived?
Terrifying to me. No, I don't want to know that.
Well, first off,
out of your mind, lady? That's a horrible thing to know.
Chelsea, there are hundreds of people I've seen on TV that can outlast you right at this point, because if they're professionals with this. Lots of
no, but she's putting her hat in the ring.
Like the people that even hunt are above
Yeah,
you. Like,
you don't know how good I'll get.
Yeah, you don't know.
No, I hear it in your voice, Chelsea. You're going to get it.
You are talking to female Tom Van Prepper.
In fact, right now, I'm hoping that the end of the world happens just because to prove that Chelsea does not stand a chance.
She has your confidence.
You'll never last a week.
Why do you get so mad at your own confidence?
Chelsea,
she has your confidence.
You'll never last 3 days.
We'll see. I'll last 3 days longer than you.
Prep off. Tom versus Chelsea.
I'm somewhat prepared.
Yeah, at least she's got a bucket. What do you have?
Oh, Chelsea, I've been camping dozens and dozens of times.
Yeah, but your wife's camping setup was that. Talk about prepping. You guys had a full kitchen out there.
Do you know how to use guns? Are you trained in any of that?
Sure, yeah.
No, you're not. I hear it.
You put the hose down the barrel.
Yeah. I've shot guns.
I'm not gonna lie, but I do have family that has. And no, I had bad experiences with guns, so.
You were shot a few times? My God.
Well,
no, I was. Well, that's a story for another day.
Oh my God, were you held at gunpoint during sex?
Chelsea, what? Do you want to go to one of these, because they
do schools now?
You can go out and take a survival class from someone. I mean, that would, if you really want to take this seriously. Now I'm going to turn into positive Tom here for a second. Stop making.
I'm
fun
glad
of
you tell us now, because I don't know sometimes. The lines are blurred.
So, if you want to take a class with someone that teaches you what plants you could eat in Florida,
why would I want to do that?
And then how to purify your water and how
to live off the land.
Yeah, I mean, there are classes that they go and teach you that stuff, because that is actually relevant information. And I have thought about the most efficient way to make a fire without a lighter or something like that. Like
Duraflame. You gotta use Duraflame.
Building a structure, what to do first. Like, there are lists of things. Like, you watch these survival shows, they'll teach you, like, all right, first is structure. This is what you need to make it waterproof. Like, it's relevant information if you are truly trying to survive, and they'll teach you how to do it. But anything goes wrong, that's the problem with it. I see these survival shows, and the guys that are professionals, they ate like a little bit of the wrong thing, and they start puking, and they can't stop, and then they're 2 weeks, and then they're done, and then they have to call the emergency phone. Yeah. It's hard to survive. Insanely hard.
The chat room wants to know if we could send Chelsea maybe into the woods for maybe a day, just to see if she can make it one day in the woods. Like, maybe we could do set up a thing like a challenge where to see if she could stay 1 to 2 nights in the woods.
Well, I feel like 1 to 2 nights you could just fast at that point. Like, you're not even trying to find.
But she's gonna have to set up the structure.
That whole thing. So hard.
Well, Chelsea, I'm happy that you were our contestant. You're a very unconventional, positive, unprepared novice prepper, and I think it's great. I think you win. You did a great job.
Thanks.
Oh.
So,
I think you hurt her feelings.
We'll end with this. Where do you hope to get to? What's your goal in this hobby?
Like Les Stroud style?
Like, you said you're going to camp more and be out in the wilderness more, which is great. I love that. But do you plan to, see if you can be out in the wilderness for maybe 5 days alone or something? Do you have a goal like that?
Yes, I mean, it wouldn't be I don't know. It's not a bad goal. I definitely want to get there, but I mean, obviously, I know nothing, so I have to start very, very slow. So once I get, maybe a weekend under my belt, then start, a little bit bigger, go somewhere more secluded, that type of thing.
There you go.
Do you ever think about the logic of like this Ukraine thing made you scared you and turning into a prepper, but the fact that you want to start slow means that if something popped off now like
right.
it's too quick, you don't have enough time. So it's weird that you don't have any sort of time anxiety about getting prepared for something you're scared of that is happening right now. And
that's what makes it a hobby and not just a fear. That's what makes it a hobby and not just a fear is that she feels like she's like, I got plenty of time. Hobby. See the difference?
Exactly.
I gotcha.
It's not a lifestyle. It's not a lifestyle thing right now. But yeah, no, listen. I know if the world were to end today, I'd be screwed. So I'm not, I have no delusions of that. And guess what? If it happens and somebody survives and they happen to, be able to break into my car, then great. They can have all my crap.
There you go.
Good for them.
Free bucket. Free bucket. You heard it here.
Maybe a little bit, man. You're like,
my bucket. Oh, God, now I have nothing.
I spent a quarter of my free time on this.
How would I know? And at that point, money wouldn't mean anything, and time wouldn't mean anything. So, whatever.
Yeah. Well, that's my whole point. Is why are you even doing it? It's all you did anyway.
Yeah. All you did is waste money on the bucket.
Crazy, Tom.
Completely.
Because I'm crazy.
Hoard some drugs.
Yeah.
So your last days are unbelievable.
Yeah.
That's what I do. I'm not joking. When Corona first hit, I went to the weed store and then ABC and bought them out of White Claw and as much weed as I could.
Yeah, every single piece.
I don't care about food, anything. I was like, if this is going down, I'm having
a blast.
By the way, I drank it all in like 2 months, which I thought I had a longer supply. And then I'm like, this didn't last me.
2 years later.
I need a storage shed of alcohol. Anyway.
That's a prepper.
All right, Chelsea. Thanks for telling us about your weird hobby, and good luck at the end of the world.
Yeah.
I'll see you in hell.
Yep, sounds good.
All right, later. Thanks for doing it. She's sweet. All right, there you go. Novice prep. Very novice.
Yeah.
Extremely novice. Brand new. Didn't even receive her bucket of stuff yet.
I do like if she would have said just survival training, I like that.
Yeah.
Because I would be into that.
She didn't sound as serious as I thought. It sounds like maybe she's interested. It does calm her down maybe a little bit. She's not as hyped up as some people would be.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's interesting.
The survival training aspect of it is interesting, learning how to live off the land and stuff. But again, it's so hard, man. Like
it is.
If
you have to get rid of so many, like our buddy, the gentleman that lives off the land here in town, Rob Greenfield. Rob Greenfield, he does it, but he does it because he can do it. And what I mean by that is...
But he's living in a house with things.
Right, but my point, even on that, he's the only person I can think of that knows where to find food, what plants are able to... You know what I mean? He's got the knowledge where if he had to spend day and night with just a backpack... That guy's set up to do it. He knows how to navigate things because it's his lifestyle. That's my point. Yeah. It's not like he's not preparing for anything. It's what he does.
And he's got the convenience of setting up farming and stuff. You can't do that if you're trying to survive in the apocalypse. You have to be mobile. And so
knowing what you could grab, he knows he picked up some papayas here and I got these oranges here,
But you constantly have to be on the move. You can't just start a farm people just go steal your food and then it all ends in a scenario in my mind of you shooting back and forth at humans and them killing you eventually.
Right.
And so that to me, so it's like, all right, now you're just running around foraging for food, and that is hard. And any sort of meat is hard to get, and if you go long enough without meat, your body starts I'm telling you that show alone will show you this guy caught so much fish, right? He made a net, and where his fishing spot was, there was a bunch of fish. So he was catching 4 fish a day. So food is solved, right? And I'm like, well, this guy's gonna win. He was eating too much fish. The oil and stuff was giving him horrible diarrhea and stuff. He had to supplement that with eating just moss or something with fiber and other things besides
the moss.
Besides some oil and protein. You can't just eat one particular thing.
Have some moss in there, soak up that fish oil.
Yeah, who knows that? I don't know that. He even knew it, and he was and so because of that was causing him other problems. Then when his fish
did he say that? He was like, I knew I should have eaten more moss.
he was explaining what it was, and like all this tiny stuff that like you need years of training for. We don't know about that. Like, and then like catching squirrels and with little traps and stuff, and then learning how to cook them and eat every part of them. And like the brains have more fat, so that's what's hard to find in the
and more nutrient rich.
Well, apparently fat is one of the hardest things to find in the wild because all these animals are lean as hell because they're wild animals, right? They don't have fat on them.
That would make
we eat
sense, yeah.
fatty cows that sit in pens that we stuff them full of corn.
Yeah.
So they get fat. So the fat is hard to find. Like there's certain things that I don't know any of this stuff, and so like it all leads to death. Like, so why even try? But I give her credit for at least trying.
Yeah, I mean,
being into it. I guess
she was just fun. Like I think most people liked her just because of her demeanor. Let's knock out a couple of voicemails. Let's try this guy right here.
What's up, guys? This is Ben with a Y. Hey, I was just listening to the OG show, and there is no way in hell that I'm going to let my wife get away with just doing laundry while I'm outside raking leaves for 5 hours. Do you know how easy laundry is? You literally throw it in there, and you sit on your ass for an hour, then you throw it in the dryer, then you sit on your ass for another hour, and then you hang it up. It's literally the easiest chore in the house. There's nothing tedious about doing laundry. But on the reverse side, having to rake leaves outside, screw that. That's the harder of the chores. There's no way I'm going to trade one for the other. If I'm raking leaves, she's raking leaves. That's just how it is. Love you guys. Bye.
What do you think about that? I'd rather rake leaves.
Get married? That doesn't sound like it.
I would rather rake leaves.
Me too. Me yeah.
I
hate laundry.
Yeah, I hate laundry too. I'm not good at it. I hate folding clothes. I hate taking wet clothes out. I hate taking a big bundle of clothes to the bed and dumping them out and then go looking at it and being like,
Folding is the worst
Yes.
part. Like getting all dirty laundry and throwing it into the washer and then into the dryer
Yeah,
is
that's
easy.
easy.
Folding it and putting it away, I'd much rather rake leaves.
Why even put it away? That's why most people just pile, like for a while, if things get bad at the Dennis household,
Yeah.
we all do this. You dump the clothes over and then you're like, you're just going to have to pick out of that for a little while until we can get things back on track.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody does the laundry dump.
Yeah. We dumped it out on the piano or whatever the hell.
There's
like,
panties or socks.
Yeah, on the couch.
And it's a free-for-all. You get what you get. You go through there. You wanted to wear that green shirt because you love it? Well, it's not folded. You're going to have to grab it out of there. Well, it's wrinkly. Throw it in the dryer for a couple of seconds. That's what you got to do.
Yeah. For a while, we became, I was going to say addicted to, but we became a little dependent on when things got out of control. We just take it all to the wash, dry, and fold
You
place.
said wash.
Oh,
My dad used to say wash.
Wash. Oh, yeah.
Wash.
That's- My mom and my Meemaw said wash. Anyway, and then you take it there and in giant garbage bags.
I love it.
And then they give it to you back all folded.
Yeah, but like squish folded, like pressed.
Yeah. And
It's like fancy fold.
in a plastic bag. And
Sometimes they stack up your t-shirts, they tie a little bow on the top of them.
and then you're like, this is fancy. Like, expensive as hell.
It is.
Like, but you're like, wow. But then the problem is, then you get it and you put it back on the couch or whatever, and then you start picking out of that instead of putting it away in the drawers.
Right.
And then it all spills out, and you're like, oh, I ruined it.
Yeah.
$30.
Yeah, it like falls over and everything gets unraveled.
Because then you still have to put it away in the drawers, which is,
My wife does that.
pain in the
like
ass.
she sometimes she'll I have a t-shirt closet where like
Yeah.
my t-shirts are folded and they're kind of stacked up. How often do you go through your t-shirts, or like for me, hats? I have too many. I just need to go through. It's a bunch of garbage.
I don't have any the t-shirts. I have 2 full drawers of t-shirts that I never wear, and then my top drawer of t-shirts I always go, and then that's basically the drawer that I use the shirts and they get put back. But 2 full drawers,
Never wear.
and then
Me too.
Crystal's constantly like, throw these away. But a lot of them are old Tom and Dan
Yeah,
shirts.
big balloony Gildans.
I've thrown those away, but like some of them are shirts that I'm like, I don't want, like for instance, like our Bad at Business Beer Fest shirts, things like that. I'm like, it's hard. Like,
Yeah.
I'm like, don't throw this away.
You
And
gave
then I
me
keep
the
them.
I like beer shirt.
No, throw
I
that
love
away.
no, I don't want to throw it away. I love that shirt, but
It's
it's too
garbage.
big now. It's like an XL. It's like a tent on me now. We may have played this one. I'm trying to get through all these saving a life voicemails
okay.
that we had.
Hey gang, it's Zach from Ohio.
Yep, we already did that one. This one, I think, we have not done.
Hey guys, it's Barry Joe here. I just upped my Florida man game and accepted a firearm for payment of landscaping. Just thought you should know. Bye.
I like that.
There are a lot of people that are into guns, and like owning them and like kind of collecting them.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying? Some people, I mean, they don't even like regularly shoot them. They just like own. It's like it's almost like art, or you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They like the look, and they like
Most people
knowing
I
they
know
have
have guns.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know if that's a Florida thing, but I think most people I know have guns.
Yeah, I think it's this. It's definitely a Florida thing because most people I know too have guns. But they're the people
Even people that you don't think have guns normally have a gun.
Yeah. Like I've had guns passed down to me. I have them in my safe and stuff. But I'm not into.
We
them.
were never a handgun family, which is weird. I think most families around me were at least one or two. Not the Dennises, not so much.
But yeah,
not that I know of.
shotguns,
I'm sure at some point. And then I have weird things, like I had my dad had stories of having a gun pulled on him, which seemed to be like a more of an older 70s and 80s thing.
Yeah.
You know, like that was like a thing. But they were not handgun guys. But my dad, very much what you're saying, but with shotguns, but with very nice collectible shotguns.
Yeah. And it's like, I think, like, you know, it's like, how do you not think a gun is cool? Like, obviously, besides of the people that have been negatively affected by
them,
but,
correct.
But still, like, the look of it, it's like just the kid in you is like, oh, that's cool. But there are people that are into them a lot, and I've never had that experience where I look at it and like, oh, I need this.
More than
I want to own it. I get some pleasure out of buying it and, you know, owning it.
My grandparents were that. My grandfather on my mother's side was very much the guy that would go into the gun store, find the gun that he'd been like eyeing or had heard about, track it down, and a lot of them you could only find here in Florida, and they were from Virginia. A lot more guns here, I guess. And he'd go and he'd find out. I remember going with him before he passed away. And then he'd go and then like he'd buy this particular long gun that he liked for deer hunting. And it was a beautiful wood stock and had like engraving of like very beautiful rifle that he purchased. And a lot of those, if not all of them, were handed down to me. And most of them I sold off to people that would use them for hunting and stuff like that. I'm not a hunter. You know, I'm not at all anti-gun, but it just, I don't need those. Around. I kept a few. I have a few still to this day, but that's all I got. It's interesting though. My grandfather had them displayed and stuff like that. The one that I find more interesting than that are the people that display the samurai sword. Or the knives, even.
That's
daggers and knives.
Well, that's all part of it.
Yeah.
Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, there's one thing about owning a gun and you have it, and back to prepping. Like, you have it because of peace of mind. You feel like you could protect yourself if you need to, right? But statistically, you're probably not going to. I mean, most police officers don't fire their gun.
Right.
But then you have it for that. But I'm talking about the people that are just into the collection of it and like love buying guns. I see people all the time in like the BDM Outdoors.
Oh, they love the gear.
And even the memes of like, I told my wife this, but I bought another gun, or, you know, so I think, and everybody is into
the
that.
gear, like the sights and the
it's a nerd dad thing.
And you switched out this part, especially with like the guns that are of question, the ones that, you know, that are like triggering to people. You know, I know the guys that, you know, are the enthusiasts that are into it as much like anybody else would be into like Xbox. You know, they're just into collecting and buying extra equipment and bolting it on, and
the looks, the aesthetics of it, the aftermarket,
the way
element.
it performs, the way it fires, the way it feels, the lightness of it, the color of it, like all of that stuff.
I mean, like
a hobby.
You know, and some of these people don't even like go out and shoot. You know, they just like the. That's what I'm saying. Like they like the aesthetics.
There are
of
those
it,
guys.
and they collect them.
I follow even a couple of guys that do go out and shoot, but they like to go to those ranges. You know, where you have the different crazy targets, and they're doing it for time, and that's cool too. I think competition shooting's really cool.
Yeah, or just that's your hobby. You go to the gun range and then you shoot, and then you. You know, it's all part of.
It's like a stress.
It's all a nerd dad thing, you know. Anyway,
for sure. Let's try this one right here.
Hey guys, Hilton Head BDM here. I was just putting on Disney Plus, and it updated, I guess, and it asked me to determine who was able to see mature content, right? So everyone's been wondering how they're going to handle their mature content, like, you know, now that they own Deadpool and I think Wolverine and stuff. So it got me thinking, like, what do you guys think? Like, should Disney be able to like stream rated R stuff now? Is it a big deal? You know, it's going to be a big deal to some people, right? How would you handle it?
I think, I think handling it through just the normal controls of Maisie's account is a kid account, and it certainly won't be accessing anything R-rated. And then having the R-rated stuff on there for adults is just fine with me. I don't need any more than that because I'm in control of what she's watching. I'm not saying that to brag or anything. I'm just saying like most parents are. I think most parents, for the most part, though at least the ones that I know what their kid is watching. So it's not really going to matter.
Well, it's like, it's up to you as a parent to put the parental control on the internet.
Yeah.
It's not up to the internet to control what your kid looks at.
Dangerous. If you think that's pretty dangerous.
That was stupid, dude. That's your job as a parent to police that. But I do think like it's got to be in a different area of Disney Plus or have some sort of, when you log in, I guess you got to, if in the future, if you log in with your kid's name, then it's only kids content, or have some sort of button you could be like, this is only kids. Because everything on Disney Plus now, I assume, is kid friendly for Max and Tommy to watch.
I believe it was. I don't think it is now.
Well, they don't have Deadpool on it now. Like, if I go to Disney Plus, can I watch? You can't watch an R-rated movie just by scrolling through. Can you? I doubt they would make.
Norm says he's watching Punisher on there right now. That they do not care.
Is Punisher R-rated or is it PG-13? Because PG-13 content, I don't care.
I honestly
Max
don't
and Tommy.
know. I don't know, man. I'm sorry.
It seems unlikely they just have R-rated movies.
People are saying bad violence, pretty much.
But it's PG-13.
Don't know. Nobody's said anything yet. I don't know.
I
have no problem with it.
Yeah.
It's just like anything else. HBO, Cinemax, any Nickelodeon. I mean, like there's stuff on Nickelodeon that is like teen aggressive, I guess, but I don't know. If I deem it, that I think it's going to affect Maisie negatively, I try to pull it myself, or control it myself.
Yeah. Also, it's like how much is a movie, it's going to temporarily maybe scare the kids or whatever, but it's going to long-lasting, long-term emotional damaging, like abuse and things that, what I'm saying? That has, like, a movie is hard for me to imagine that. I've never heard any human in my life be long-term negatively affected by some movie they watched as a kid.
Like the worst case would be you just mention it to them and there's a teaching moment and you end up having a discussion about it. Like,
or you remember, you're like, oh yeah, I watched a scary movie as a kid. Like, did it affect you long-term? Are you a different person? Are you damaged because of it? Nah. You're damaged because of your uncle molesting you. You don't think that's a hardcore
horrible movie.
Anyway, bye-bye.